Hi, I'm Laura Brandenburg from Bridging the Gap, and we help you start your business analyst career. So today I want to talk about one of the most frequently asked questions we receive, and that's, what skills do I need to actually get started as a business analyst? Or what skills do I need to be like a proven, successful, like well-established business analyst who's really like has what they need to be successful in a business analyst role? And it can be really confusing to know where to get started, because when you start looking at job postings, there's like all kinds of skills that get packed into jobs with the business analyst job title, and even business analyst roles that might not even have the business analyst job title. So I want to do for you in this video and in the accompanying posts, where I'm going to break this down into what are the core skills, what are the business analysis skills, what are some of the softer skills that you need to really be successful, and then what are some of the other skills that we see a lot of times in business analyst jobs, but they aren't really core to being a business analyst, but often get layered onto business analyst job roles, and why that happens. Okay, so let's dive right in here. So first, let's talk about core skills. So just core underlying foundational skills that you could have from any kind of career background or any kind of professional background. So first is communication. Like, business analysts are great communicators. They are good at all kinds of communication. So verbal communication in small meetings, large meetings, presentations, email, written communication. We do a lot of work with specifications and writing clear requirements, and being able to have clear written communication in a variety of modalities is extremely important. As is visual communication, being able to show things visually. We use a lot of different visual models. I'm going to talk about that when we get to the business analysis skills, but just being able to like draw pictures to represent your ideas, as well as use text and written communication to represent your ideas. So that's probably the most important skill, communication, and you might have that from a variety of different job backgrounds. The other core skill that I think makes for a really good, successful business analyst is problem solving, right? We solve problems. We solve business problems as business analysts. And so we need to help create a shared understanding of what the problem actually is. Why are we doing this project? What is it intended to do and accomplish? What is the benefit to the business? And get everybody's perspective of that problem, and really get into the root cause and understanding of that problem. And then accompanying that is a critical thinking skill. So are we actually solving the right problem here? What are the possible solutions to this problem? Can we change the business process? Do we need software? Do we need to reorganize the team? Like, looking broadly and thinking critically about what the potential solutions are, and creating alignment on what the solution will look like for your project. Okay, so those, I think, are the core foundational skills. So communication, problem solving, critical thinking, that really set you up for success. Now let's talk about some of the very specific business analysis skills, like things that you might learn in a business analyst training program like ours. We offer a variety of online, on-demand business analysis training at Bridging the Gap to help people build their business analyst skills, and also enhance those core skills that they might already have and bring to the table. And the Business Analyst Blueprint goes through the key techniques that business analysts use, particularly new business analysts or mid-level business analysts on a typical business process change or software project. And that blueprint is divided into analysis and communication, and it's also into 3 levels of requirements. So the business level, the software level, and the information level. And that's because, as I mentioned, communication is super important. So we don't need to just know how to analyze the requirements. We do need to know how to analyze the requirements, and that's how we figure out the problems that we're solving. It's how we perform critical thinking as business analysts. We also need to communicate to discover information that will help us discover what the problem is, help us think critically about the problem and the solution. And so that's why the blueprint has 2 levels like that. And then let's talk about business level, software level, and information level. These are 3 key levels of skills, or 3 key ways that we look at the requirements. So business being, what does the business do? How does the business perform its functions day to day? This is that end-to-end business process. We might create process maps or workflow diagrams along with a textual business process model that clearly describes how that process works. Then at the software level, a lot of the times we need to do use cases. Some more agile teams will ask us to do user stories. User stories are like little bite-sized pieces of the software requirements, which can be a very important communication tool. But use cases allow us to think in terms of how does the user interact with the system? And we need some way to be able to critically think about that user system interaction that allows us to get really clear on what the functional or software requirements are for our project or for our solution. And so use cases are a great critical thinking tool that enable us to get to the right level of the software requirements. And then finally, we have the data or information level. And these are the sets of techniques that allow us to really understand how information is organized and stored in our organization. We teach techniques like entity relationship diagrams and glossaries and data dictionaries and data mapping and system context diagrams. So all techniques that allow you to just get a view of where is the information, what kinds of information are we collecting, how does information transfer between systems, how does the individual data fields transfer between systems. A really important view that enables technology today to automate so many of our business processes by passing data back and forth. If we don't know what that data is, or how it's organized or how it's useful to the business, we really can't automate what the business does. And so data and information modeling is becoming increasingly important in today's skills. And then finally, those are all the techniques that we might use to analyze, discover, communicate about the requirements, but we also need to be informed and aware of the end-to-end business analysis process. So at Bridging the Gap, we teach an 8-step business analysis process that starts when you get assigned an ambiguous project and have no idea what to do, and flows all the way through to defining the problem, figuring out the solution, analyzing the requirements, supporting the technical team, supporting the business team, and ultimately assessing the value of what actually got delivered. Did we do what we said we were going to do? Did we solve the right problem? And presenting a report and a characterization of that project that really supports both the business analysis effort and the effort of the entire team in terms of what the project performed. Okay, so those are the core business analysis skills. And again, we have courses that teach all of those skills at Bridging the Gap. So if you are interested in learning more, definitely get in touch with me about that. Let's talk now about some of the softer skills. So none of this happens in a vacuum, right? It's not like you just learn how to put the right documents together and poof, they magically get created. So there's a lot of soft skills that go into truly being successful. Relationship building is one. How do you build trust with your stakeholders to get them to share information, to get them to open up, to get them just to come to your meetings, right? A lot of that comes back to how you plan and structure those meetings, which is important, but also building a really positive and open relationship with them. Business analysts tend to be very self-managing, meaning hopefully in most situations, we don't have somebody looking over our shoulder every day, making sure we do this, this, and this. We don't have somebody organizing our time and telling us what to do when. We have to look at the big picture of what we need to accomplish, possibly on multiple different projects, and use that and plan to that and work ahead of that to really be managing ourselves towards that. And this is where the process framework that we teach can come in really handy. It's not about project managing the whole team, that's a project manager's role, but about managing ourselves and setting ourselves up for success and making sure we're thinking ahead and allowing people to know how they need to show up to support the work that we do as business analysts as well. I also think business analysts need a little bit of a thick skin. We can wear our heart on our sleeves sometimes. We can get overly emotionally invested in our work, but we need to have a thick skin when we put a requirements model out there, or draft a solution to a problem. It might be completely the wrong thing the first time. And so not getting attached to those ideas, not taking it personally when somebody's like, I didn't want this, I wanted something else, right? And having that confidence and ability to embrace that feedback and take that to the next level. And finally, a clear relationship with ambiguity and ability to both handle ambiguity, meaning we're going to start projects not knowing much about anything. We might not even be knowledgeable about the business domain, right? We might not be knowledgeable about the technology. There might be a lot of ambiguity for us. And so we need to be able to succeed in the context of that ambiguity, but with the guide of bringing forward towards clarity, right? So we're always trying to translate ambiguity into clarity. It's part of our business analyst manifesto at Bridging the Gap, is we take chaos and turn it into clarity. Like we take ambiguity and turn it into clarity. So super important skill as well. And the requirements models and the elicitation models and the discovery models that we teach you at Bridging the Gap help you create that kind of clarity. Okay, so that's it from a core BA perspective. But you might be thinking like, Laura, when I go to look at jobs, there's all these other things that get layered on. And so what about these more special skills? And that's the reality, is that a lot of times we will see technical skills, whether that's like how to code or how to use a specific software system. You don't need to know how to code to be a business analyst. You don't need to know how to write SQL as a business analyst. There are reasons that technical skills end up in business analyst jobs. That's a topic of an entirely another video that I can share the link with you. But you don't need to have those technical skills. You can have those technical skills. I personally didn't come from as much of a technical background. I came from more of a business background. About half of business analysts come with some business expertise, and about half of us come with more technical expertise. So whatever camp you're in good company. But you might feel overwhelmed that like the other half of the profession knows more than you do about their specialty. So when you talk to a software developer who's now a business analyst because they wanted to get out of the rat race of always needing to know the latest cutting edge how to do everything, they're going to be much more technically competent than you. But you need to know how to have conversations with that technical person and understand the possibilities of technology, not necessarily how to code or build that technology. Another area that tends to come up is specific methodologies, whether that's Agile or Six Sigma or VPN or any sort of specific way of doing business or creating change in a business. And again, this is just a layer on top of your business analysis skills. If you don't have that core foundational thinking of how to be a great BA, you're probably going to suffer if you're just an Agile expert trying to be a BA on an Agile team. You've got the Agile knowledge, but not the BA knowledge, right? They need to go together. And that Agile could be a layer on of your business analysis skills that makes you really, really marketable in an Agile product owner role or Agile business analyst role. And then the other area that we see get layered on is like an industry or a domain experience. So like being an expert in the insurance industry, or knowing the accounting domain, or knowing a lot about human resources, or knowing a lot about marketing, right? So having a specialty from a business perspective. And this is where the technologists often look at the BAs of the business background and be like, oh, you have such an unfair advantage because you understand the business and I don't, right? You see how it's kind of a double-edged sword. No matter what side of that you're on, you're going to feel like somebody else has more expertise than you. And there are roles that do appreciate more of a generalist business analyst and that ability to learn in any situation and survive and thrive in any domain, but a lot of roles today do look for experience or expertise in a particular specialty. So if you do have a deep background, say 10 years of experience in the insurance industry, the best way to start moving towards a business analyst job role is in the insurance industry. Leverage that domain experience, or look for related domains where the function is similar, or the experience you have is similar and relevant and helps you move forward more quickly. And same thing, even if you're in a more of a tech background, look for the kinds of systems you've used, look for the kinds of industries you've worked with and been exposed to, and leverage that background to get your start. And then what we see as BAs expand in the profession is they start to move around between different domains, and they leverage that expertise to get really into their first role, and then they move around to multiple different domains to build out more of a generalized expertise and more of that confidence that I can work in any situation, any domain, and I can be successful. And that's when we see people go from really successful as a proven first-time business analyst to being more of a superhero and sought after on any kind of project. Okay, but you don't have to start there. You don't have to start by knowing all of the domains. That's another limiting belief I see get in people's way. Like, oh my gosh, I need to qualify for all the jobs with all of these different industry experiences. That's like completely possible. Focus on where you're going to have the best chances of success first. Okay, final point on skills. This is a big topic. We could talk about this for hours. I actually have a free training that there'll be a link below that you can opt in for, and we'll teach you more about the business analyst job role, some of the skills that are required, the framework, and the techniques that you need to be successful. So we'll do a deeper dive because we can't cover it all in one video, unfortunately. But the last thing I wanted to share is that we see these skills show up in business analyst job titles, but also roles that aren't quote unquote business analyst roles. And so they might not have the job title, they might be called project manager, they might be called process analyst, they might be called any kind of other role, and they're really doing business analysis work. And so look at the skills that are needed to be successful more so than the titles, because titles are used really inconsistently. Okay, so that's just my take on what key skills you really need to be successful to get started and prove yourself as a business analyst. Again, we have our quick start training. If you want to follow the link below, it's completely free to do a deeper dive on some of these skills and what you need to be successful to get started. And if you're looking to really invest in improving your business analyst skills as well, we do offer online, on-demand, instructor-supported, endorsed courses at bridgingthegap.com, because we're all about you. We build our profession one business analyst at a time, and success starts with you. Again, I'm Laura Brandenburg from Bridging the Gap, and we help you start and succeed in your business analyst career.